Sunday the 25th of March and just coming up to 12 noon, and we've got our heavy lifting done for the day. So we're just out having a look at the passenger side of the body tub, going again back to front, and this side is much better as far as work that needs to be completed. Again, it's just a lot of sort of welding cleanup. We found a few pinholes here and there from previous welding. There's one right there. I don't know if you can see it or not. There's a couple there where the metal's a little thin. So basically that's what we're going to do, is we're just going to run from, again, back to front, see what we find along the way, fix it as to the best of our ability, and then move on to some other area that needs attention. But I've done quite a bit of work on this side already, so there's definitely less attention required. I've already welded up this area, for example. The bulkhead piece is actually not rusted through up here for the support piece. There's less of a wheel well repairs done on this side. So yeah, this is looking much better than the other side already. I do still need to do these body tub mounts. You can see that's just pretty loose and free floating there, so both sides. So we'll attach those. We'll clean this little channel up, re-weld all this, maybe clean this up a little bit at the back. And yeah, so not too bad. A few holes here need to be filled where we put those brackets back in, where we plug welded those, finish welding some, do some more welding here just to clean this up a little bit. But yeah, it looks pretty good on this side. So getting closer and closer each day to sending this car out to be media blasted. I know I've been saying that for an awful long time, but I got to do everything that needs to be done before I get it blasted, because I'm going to have to get into epoxy primer shortly after that. And epoxy primer and welding don't necessarily go well together. Anyway, we'll start the repairs. Alright, we got most of our welding repairs done here now in the back of the car. And ran some fresh beads of weld along this line here. Picked up all the pinholes here off the wheel well area. Filled in those holes for that bracing on the inside. Re-welded back in here. So we're moving forward. Well, we did this area too. We've re-welded this all the way along. So we've got to obviously grind all these areas back down, but we're doing all the welding first before we go back with the grinder. So I've just going to move up to this area here, and I've just bent the tabs away from the floor drop so I can get in there with a angle grinder. Actually, we've got an air die grinder. We're going to get in behind here to clean this up here on the back and clean this flange up so we can put a bead of weld on them. So this one seems to be stuck fairly solid, so we're good with that one. I may pull it in a little bit with some vice grips and just give it another quick tack, but it's on there fairly solidly. Anyway, we'll fix this one up next. We'll go and do that now. Alright guys, just coming up to 7:15. We've just had our dinner, and we're back to do about another hour or so in the garage. We've pretty much done all of the welding that we can do on the exterior of the tub, which is a good thing. So we are going to move to a few areas on the inside of the tub that are a little more accessible when the car is on its side. For example, down here, I've got some ugly welding going on this flange here, or this gutter or drip rail, whatever you want to talk about, this channel on the front wing. And we need to finish some welding here as well. So we're going to try to make this look a little bit better, because that's looking pretty nasty at the moment, and that will be visible. And we've got a little bit more welding to do up in this area as well. So we'll finish those two areas up, and that'll probably be it for the day. There's a little bit more here to do. There's looks like I missed a plug weld, and there's a spot there that needs to be welded. So we'll fix up this general area, and then of course we've got a lot of grinding to do, but at least we'll get that welded. So we'll break out the welder. We've got the spotlight targeted, so we'll get the gloves on and start welding. Alright guys, just coming up to 8 o'clock, and this is the end of night update. So we've got that looking quite a bit better, if that focus is in there, so that looks better. That looks better. And that looks better. And that looks so-so. And we still have a lot of grinding to do over here, but those areas look better. so that's good, going in the right direction. So we will get out here tomorrow night, and we will continue on with our welding and grinding efforts. I know I got a bit more welding to do back here, and it's going to be kind of dark back here, but if you remember, I started that patch, and I said I would finish it when the body tub was up on its side, so we'll go back and we'll finish off that patch and grind that down. So we have that one area to do, and then I really have to go through the body again and actually physically look for things to do. I know I keep saying that, but it's the truth. We're getting pretty close. Anyway, see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching, commenting, and subscribing. Hey, good evening guys, Tush coming back at you. Tuesday, March 27th, just after 6 p.m. We're going to do our power hour out in the garage tonight, just before dinner. So we left off doing this area up here, and we got that looking pretty good. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to move to the back of the car, and we're going to finish this area back here where I'd started to patch and decided to finish weld it when I got a better access to it. So we'll finish up welding this little patch up here. I think we'll break out the shop vac, and I think we'll vacuum up in here while we've got the opportunity. I'm tired of sloshing this debris around every time I flip the tub over, so we're going to break the shop vac out and give this thing a bit of a vacuum while it's on its side, just to get rid of all that stuff that's in there and clean it up a bit. So anyway, we'll do the welding first, and we'll grind that down, and we'll break out the shop vac. Alright guys, we're just getting down to the end of it, I think. I'm just doing a quick tour around the car, and I would say that we're getting pretty close to sending this out to be media blasted. There's very few repairs that need to be done left on the body as far as welding is concerned. There's some grinding to be done, but as far as welding repairs are concerned, I think I'm pretty confident that I can send it out at any time to get media blasted. It's just going to be finding the time to do it, where the weather is going to cooperate and my work schedule is going to cooperate. But yeah, I think it's looking not too bad. Obviously, when it gets back from media blasting, there may be some surprises that we have to contend with, but that's to be expected. So I'm not going to say that the welding is done. I'm going to say the welding is done so far. Anyway, looking pretty good. So we'll figure out what we want to do next. Alright, I think it's about time to remove the last two remaining items from this car. And one of those would be the wiper rack that's still in the car. And it's in there because it's one of those jobs that I don't want to do, and it's the last thing I have to do. And I've left it intentionally because it's not a job I like to do. So we're going to remove that, and we're going to remove this fresh air vent in order to get it ready for media blasting and eventual paint and body work. So we'll go ahead and do that now. The wiper boxes are a little fiddly to get removed. They're in these two little openings under here, and I believe they take a flat screwdriver to undo the nuts to take the wheel boxes out, and then there's this tubing that holds the wiper rack. So we'll have to remove the tubing. I believe there's a short piece on the end over there. I think there's a middle piece and a piece up this end. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get funky. Wish me luck. Alright, this might help somebody down the line who is trying to figure out how to put this back together. So I just thought I'd give you a quick shot of this whole assembly. So this is where the wiper mechanism connects to the motor, and it goes through the bulkhead, obviously, or comes out the bulkhead. Anyway, so the wiper rack, I guess you can call this, goes through the tubing, right? So then it picks up the wheel box here. So the wheel box goes through. You can see where the rack goes through the wheel box. So there's one wheel box there. Then you've got another piece of tubing, a distance piece, I guess we can call this, in the middle. And then we've got the other rack, and then we've got a small distance piece just to finish off the end of that rack. So that's basically how that goes back together, just in case you're wondering. So that's out. We'll bag that up, we'll clean it up, and we'll get it ready to put back on the car eventually. Alright, the vent mechanism is also another part that people have trouble reinstalling or figuring out how it works. So basically it's a spring that's mounted to the bulkhead on the inside, and I'll show you that mounting once I get the flap off. But we're going to detach the springs from the side. You can see them there. And then there's 3 nuts there. Once you are able to lift the vent up, you can access those nuts. And you can, or actually they're set screws, and you can loosen those and remove that vent lid entirely. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. Hopefully you can see that and it wasn't in the way with the light. Alright. And if you're unlucky like me, they're going to be seized solid in there, and you're going to end up breaking one of them off already. So the last one, the one in the middle, we're going to attempt to use some heat to get it off. If it won't come off, we're going to have to grind the head off, and then we're going to have to drill that out and tap it. So don't want to have to do that, so we'll try some heat first and hopefully we'll get lucky. Alright, what did Meatloaf say? 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Broke one, got 2 out. So let's see if we can lift this sucker off. There she be. It's a little warm. Gotta repaint this now, I guess, since I melted the paint. Anyway, we'll clean that up and we'll have a look at the spring. So the spring is held in with those 2 little clips that I believe are welded to that firewall. So if you wanted to bend those tabs back and get that spring out, you could. I don't see a requirement to do that. I'm just going to leave it in. I don't think it's going to be a problem when I'm painting, so I think we'll just leave that in there, and we'll just clean up this area where those nuts came out, or where those set screws came out. It's looking a little rusty there, so we'll probably take a wire brush to that and see what that looks like. Well, fortunately it looks pretty good under there, under that surface rust. You can see there's that one that I broke off, so we'll have to drill that out. It's too bad if I just left it, if I'd broken it off a little taller, I could have got a pair of vice grips on there and probably turned it out, but I just can't quite get a pair of vice grips on there, so we'll have to drill that sucker out. Anyway, I think we're going to call it a night out here, and we'll get back out here tomorrow night and continue on. So have a good night. Thanks for watching. Remind me not to strip this vent cover, because this is the only remaining paint, or will be the only remaining paint I have left on this car, to see what the paint color I get, see if it's going to be even close to matching this. Although this isn't the original paint, I'm assuming it's fairly close to the original color, which is royal blue, which is kind of a purpley blue. So we'll hang on to this, we'll make sure we don't strip it, and like I said, we'll hopefully get a fairly close paint match to this. Alright guys, that's it for tonight. Just looking at these wiper openings in the sail panel, and to me, they don't look right. It looks to me like they've been elongated somehow, which doesn't make sense to me. If I put this back in here, I don't know if I can do this one-handed. Let's see if I can stick this back up in here. Sorry for the shaky camera. But you can see, that's where the wiper steering rack, or wiper wheel box is supposed to go. But you can see how much is showing on the sides, and this gentleman that owned the car previously, it looks like his fix for that was to put this silicone collar all the way around this base piece. I don't think that's right. So anybody that's got a TR250 or has seen something like this, maybe it's the same on a TR4 or a 4A, but that hole doesn't look right. It doesn't look like it should have this elongation on this side. So if you care to weigh in on that discussion, it'd be greatly appreciated. I'm thinking that it should just be an oval hole, and it shouldn't have this little wing off to the side. So let me know. It's exactly the same on both sides. Alright guys, happy Thursday, March 29th, just heading into a long Easter weekend. And happy to see that baseball is back for another year. It's opening day for the Toronto Blue Jays. Unfortunately, they're not doing so well today against the Yankees. They are losing 4-0 in the 7th inning. So it's going to be a tough year for the Blue Jays, I think. And I think the Yankees and the Red Sox are both going to be powerhouses. So we'll see how the American League East shapes up. But I wouldn't be surprised if one of those two teams are in the World Series at the end of the year. Anyway, back out having a look at the car tonight, and we're not necessarily going to be doing any work on the car tonight. We are actually just doing some packing and gathering, let's say. Now, I don't want to be too mysterious, but I've got a battery charging over here. I've got a power pack charging up over here. I've got a floor jack over here. I've got a tarp and a bunch of bungee cords and some WD-40 over here. And I have a trailer, empty trailer outside. So I've got some company coming tomorrow. I've got Ellen coming tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning, I believe. And crazy old Les going to be joining. So what do you think we're up to tomorrow? Anyone care to guess? What are we going to get? That's the question for tonight. What are we going to get tomorrow? What's the next project going to be? So I'm entertaining guesses. Anyway, like I said, we didn't get much done on the car this week, but I will upload this just to get it out of the way, let's say, so we can start with a new, fresh video tomorrow. And we'll dedicate a new video to tomorrow's adventure. So that's it for tonight, guys. We'll upload this, and like I said, we'll get back out here bright and early tomorrow and get on the road for a road trip, a little adventure. So, like I said, you tell me what's happening tomorrow and what you're going to see. I look forward to the comments. Have a good night.